My life has not always been about drugs and alcohol, but at some point in my late 20s, I made the decision to become a meth addict. At the end of my addiction, I was using about $300 worth of meth a day. To support my habit, I had learned to manufacture the drug, and I sold it, and I destroyed a lot of lives as well as my own. I wasn't sure how it was going to end, but I just knew I was ready for it to end. So, on this certain day, I decided that I needed to die. I had made this decision on prior days, but on this day, I was ready. So I took 30 Xanaxes and I washed it down with quite a bit of bourbon. And I laid down, made peace with whatever I needed to make peace with, and decided that was it. And I woke up 30 minutes later. I was so angry. I was disappointed that life was going to go on. So I got up and I got really high. And I decided I would stay really high. I didn't seem like I could do enough meth to die. In another desperate attempt to get out of this life that I was in, I went and made me a noose. I didn't even know how I knew how to make a noose, but I did a pretty good job of it. And I hung it over the pool table. And I climbed up on a stool, put the noose around my neck, and my cell phone rang. And I knew I had cut it off. But I got down and I answered my phone. I guess that's what you do when you're ready to die. You go answer your phone, I'm not sure. And it was my friend, and he asked me what I was doing. I told him I was cooking hamburgers and I had to call him back. So I got on the stool and I put the noose around my neck, and the phone rings again, and I knew I had cut it off. So I get back down and I answer the phone, and he says, Did you tell me you were grilling hamburgers? And I said, I did, and they're burning and I have to go. I get up on my stool, I put the noose around my neck, and I jumped. Rope broke, and I landed on the right corner pocket of the pool table. And I'm just kind of laying there a little dazed, and I see my friend jumping in through the bathroom window of my home. He had been just next door at his parents' house, and he knew I wasn't grilling hamburgers because it was pouring down rain and we were having tornado winds. And he comes in, and all of him through the bathroom window, and he says, What are you doing? And I said, I just can't do this anymore. I just want to die. And he says, Well, you're not very good at it. So we talked for a while, and I thought that day I would be over it. I thought I would quit. I thought I would just stop. And we made plans for the future. I had always worked, and I had always known how to support myself, and kind of thought that would be what I would do the next day. I would get up and I would go find a job, and I would start rebuilding my life back. What I didn't know was the power of addiction. And in less than an hour after he walked out of my door, I was high again. And I stayed high for about another year. In the last desperate attempt to get out of my addiction and out of the pain and out of the misery, I crawled in a bathtub and I put a Glock in my mouth, pulled the slide back, and I pulled the trigger. I checked the clip and I realized that it was loaded. I did it again. Nothing happened. On the third time, I raised the gun up and I pointed it to the medicine cabinet on the wall. I pulled the trigger and it blew a hole in the wall. And at that point, I was so frustrated and so angry. And I said, if there is a God, because I wasn't sure if there was. I said, if you can't let me die, then you better teach me how to live. In about 15 minutes, there was a knock on my door, and it was the sheriff's department with a warrant for me for probation violation. When they put me in the car, my dad, who was a police officer in the county, I heard him on the radio, and he said, I'm just glad that she's alive. You see, I had lived 4 miles from my dad, and I hadn't seen him in over a year, and I didn't even realize it'd been that long. When I got to the jail, they didn't put me in general population. They put me in a holding room. And my dad came in and he said, whatever we have to do is what we'll do, but you have to make the decision to take the first step. And I was so high and I was so messed up, I didn't even understand what he meant. I couldn't make sense of anything he was saying. All I knew was that I had destroyed what could have been a very good life, and I had probably embarrassed him and the rest of my family more than they ever deserved. And so what I said to my dad was, I'm poison, and you should just get away from me and forget I exist. To which my dad responded, you're my first child. You're the first thing that ever taught me what love was. And I'll never forget that you exist. They took me to Clayton County Jail, where they put me in the mental health ward, because obviously I was crazy. And I stayed there for 10 days, and that was 10 days of no shower, no contact with the human world. They would hand me trays through a slide in the door, and they would give me this medication for my craziness. And on each side of me, in the other concrete cells, were women who they would sing. One would sing Lionel Richie hits, and the other would beat her bed against the wall. And I would just lay there and decided that if this is what my life looked like, I didn't want it anymore. And I just thought for a minute, maybe just for a minute, my life could be different. And at that point, an officer came in for the first time in 10 days. And they took me and they gave me a shower. And they let me talk to my dad on the phone. And my dad said, you're probably going to prison, because I pled first offenders and I violated. And he said, but if you don't, I know this place. And we'll get you there. And I was clear-headed enough, and I was sane enough, that all these things started flooding in. These memories of my kids that I hadn't seen in several years. Memory of my family and the way that they had loved me. And all of a sudden, the desire to be back with those things was bigger for the first time in a lot of years than my desire to get high. So I went before the judge. And he did not send me to prison. There's really no reason why I didn't. Actually, I had 2 years left on probation, and he ordered to pull 6 months of my probation. I'll get 2 for 1, which means I would serve 3 months. And I would be released, and my commitment to Clayton County would be met, which meant I would no longer be on probation. And my first time offenders was intact. I had no idea why this happened. Nobody did. So I was released from Clayton County Jail on January the 2nd, 2007. My dad picked me up, took me and bought me some clothes because I had nothing except the clothes on my back. And he said, we're going to Talking Rock, Georgia. Well, I had no idea what that was. When we got to the Hope House, it was rainy, it was almost dark, and it was so cold. But the minute my feet hit the ground, I felt something inside that I hadn't felt in a long time. And that was a little peace, I guess. And when I walked through the doors, I heard all this laughter. And I realized I hadn't heard real laughter in a long time. And I realized I hadn't laughed in a very long time. I thought immediately that it was going to be a bad thing because I didn't know how I was going to coexist with all these women at one time. I didn't like women, and I sure didn't want to live with them. But something about that laughter was contagious. Something about it was hope. And so, little by slowly, I engaged in the process of recovery. And at the Hope House, I learned how to live life on life's terms. I I learned about unconditional love. I learned about commitment. I learned about forgiveness. And all those things helped me to meet God. God in my understanding. The thing that I never believed in, because I thought that if there was a God, all these horrible things that have happened to me in my life would have happened. David built a trust in me where I could talk to him about things that I'd never talked about. He could help me through things that I didn't think I would ever get better from, just from traumas of life. And it wasn't this huge one day I woke up and I was better. It was this product of little by slowly, and one day I realized that my life was different. I realized I wasn't scared, I wasn't afraid, I wasn't angry. I was happy. And the sad part was that it took me a little while to identify what the feeling was, because I was so unfamiliar with happy identity. I watched Miss Connie sacrifice every day for the greater good, her husband, her family. And so, when my time was up, when my year was up, I wasn't ready to leave yet. So I stayed on as a house manager for a while. And I was just really praying for direction and for a definite path. And for almost like runway lights. So God would tell me where to go and what to do. And I got the opportunity to go to school to be a counselor. And I took it. And it was such a long process. I didn't think I would ever get there. I didn't think I would ever be successful, because being successful was something I wasn't. I was a very good drug dealer. I had never been really good at anything else. And so I was still staying at the Hope House. I was mending my relationship with my children. I was going to school. I had a cleaning business. And I was learning how to live life. It was like a training ground. Even though I completed the program, I still needed that stability and that structure. But faithfully, on that journey, God gave me back what I could stand to have back, when I could stand it. So now, 6 years later, I have my children, take them to school every day, and my parents love me and trust me, and I have a relationship with them that I never thought I would have. I'm a counselor. I help men and ladies every day with their addictions. Not that I can do anything, but stand there and share my experience, strength, and hope with them. I have a life that I never thought I would have. I'm a long way from that girl that was in a bathtub trying to die. And the Hope House was absolutely my catalyst for life. It's where I learned who I was and who I wasn't. And I learned how to cope with things I never thought I would cope with. But most importantly, the environment. The environment encouraged me to have a belief in something bigger than me. And it brought me to a place where I could trust again. Without that, I don't know where my life would be today. I'm sure at some point I would have been successful as taking my own life. I'm sure that my children wouldn't have the mother that they have today, and my parents wouldn't have the daughter that they have today. Without the Hope House, I would have been nothing, and I'm not sure that there's anything I can do to thank them enough for that.